Fluhfie. Alright, so all the games I've played. This is the one I joined CJ and Advance Warriors TinyWars tournament. So that was this game. They already went over on their channel. I could probably, yeah, I'll put a link to that. If you're watching this on YouTube, I will put a link to that in the description below, so you can watch my game here. And this game, however, is my first ranked game on the site. My opponent is also someone who joined immediately after the TinyWars tournament, so both of us are pretty new to this. And I'm player 2, I'm the blue team. So what I didn't know is that apparently comm towers and these radar buildings over here and over here provide income, which is not like Advance Wars by web, where comm towers don't provide income. So it's even more important that you capture these than I thought it would be, because they provide other resources as well. But since there's no comm towers on this, I don't plan to talk about it right now. I'll talk about it in a different game. Oops. Okay. So I banned most of the custom COs. I can only ban 6. So pretty much only the vanilla COs minus Calder. Actually, I don't know his name. Is it Calder? I haven't really played Days of Ruin, so I don't have the memory on it. But we both picked Isabella, so it doesn't matter. Isabella's power is +2 movement and +2 indirect range for all units, so that's pretty broken, I would say. That's why I picked her. But other than that, she's rather weak in terms of day-to-day and bonuses. So I built a bike here because bikes have 5 movements, which are faster, which they can go faster pretty much. They take 2 movement on the shoals, that's why they can only go up to this property. But after capturing this property, they can chain onto this one, which is the primary reason why I built a bike. And I built a bike here to go to this property so that they could chain onto the ports over here. So a capture chain that can only be achieved with bikes. Also note that infantry does cost 1.5k, so they're not exactly as cheap as it otherwise would be in Advance Wars by web. I noticed that base skipping is much more of a thing in Days of Ruin, because you can get so much more tempo at the cost of unit count, which I still haven't found the balance. I'm still going heavy on unit count, but sometimes I'm starting to recognize the need to base skip because it serves an important purpose of gaining tempo with your vehicles. Another bike here to reach this property down here. My opponent goes for a bike over here to chain. I chose not to use a bike because I don't intend to hold this. I see that there's 2 bases over at the left side. I see there's 2 bases on the left side. So I think I'm going to lose this property anyway. So I might as well just go for this property and settle for that. He sends 1 infantry, I send 2. Admittedly, this is not the best capture order. This is, keep in mind, this is my first ranked non-tournament game on the site. So I'm not exactly the best at spotting the capture order with the new bike units and all. But I say it's pretty good since I'm getting both of my center properties very quickly. And I start building mechs. Mechs are actually cheaper in Days of Ruin, costing only 2.5k instead of 3. So they're not exactly as bad. He built a tank here. Like I said, my opponent also came from Advance Wars by Web and only came because of the Days of Ruin tourney. So they didn't know about how to equip a CO on a unit just yet. Fortunately for me, I have watched some videos on it. One thing that's different from Advance Wars by Web I noticed is that sometimes you want to attack with your infantry first instead of your tank, because there's something called a veterancy bonus where every kill your unit gets, they get a rank up, and this rank up increases their firepower, and at the final rank of veteran, they get plus 20% attack and defense, so it is pretty strong. So you do have to weigh whether or not you want to have your infantry injured, or if you want to rank up your tank instead. I put my commander on an anti-tank. At this point I still think anti-tank is pretty good. It can shoot battlecopters, and it's like artillery, except it can also shoot at one range, so I thought it was, oh, it must be pretty strong, but the movement is rather weak. We will see how, as I continue to play, my strategy slowly shifts from... It's still being molded. So, because most of you are probably only on Advance Wars by Web, I should probably explain how powers work. You charge your CO meter whenever, based on the number damage your units in your CO zone do. So if my infantry here shot this infantry and killed it, I will get 3 charge for it. You need 60 to activate your power. At 30, you get to increase your CO zone by 1. Your CO zone also provides your day-to-day bonuses, otherwise all your units are pretty much normal units, unless you're Penny. Penny also gets day-to-day on the weather effects, but that's not really any firepower bonus at all. So that makes the CO rather important. And I should have sent this infantry to capture the radar at the bottom. I should have sent this infantry here to capture the radar at the left. But like I said, I didn't know radars also provide funds, so I just ignored them. He also ignored the radar up here. Alright, kills my units over here. I am slightly behind, but I think it's fine because I got my CO up and running. So I can charge the power, and I know Isabella's power is pretty strong. +2 movements and +2 indirect range for all units globally. That is very strong. Alright. Plus I'm also controlling the center. If my opponent wants to fight me, then every damage my unit does over here builds up charge for my CO power. Alright. I built a medium tank. Okay, this is a little bit of an inaccuracy I did. So I sent my tank to attack the artillery first, but it's outside of the CO zone. If I had just attacked this infantry first, I would have 30 charge, which means I'm halfway to my power. And this tank would have been within the zone, which means the damage it does gets +20% attack and defense for my day-to-day. And it also means this extra damage against this artillery would have contributed more to my charge. So that was a little bit of a inaccuracy on my end. But still, I get the charge from the infantry, so... My opponent built a rocket. Okay. Puts the CO on the rocket. Now, I know better now, but back then I was like, yeah, I suppose it's fine. Isabella is rather squishy compared to the other COs because of the weaker day-to-day. So maybe putting it on the indirect is okay, since you are controlling a lot of space, and as long as she's alive, she will eventually get her power. At least that's what I thought. But I continue building up my charge, dropping more units over here, interrupting the HQ capture, and I built a rocket just to protect my HQ. I see the anti-tank coming, and a rocket outranges the anti-tank. Hang on, before we continue, let me just check something. Pause. Okay, everything's fine. Let's continue. I put my anti-tank in under the minimum range of this rocket. So if the rocket wants to interrupt the captures, I get to shoot on it. And I'm just being annoying with my tank over here, getting very close to that base. I was also mech spamming from my bottom right base, because I have to cross a river, so it's either foot soldiers or mechs. Well, they're both foot soldiers, but I prefer to get mechs since mechs aren't exactly... Mechs are actually pretty good for the price. They are stronger than infantry, and it's only a tiny bit more relative to Advanced Wars by Web. Plus, with Isabella's +2 movement during the power, they become really strong. But I got a shot on the rocket, and my rocket protects my HQ. I bring another rocket from the right side to also protect my HQ. They also got a rocket to protect their HQ, but I greatly outnumber them, so I decide to... right now I am just trying to build up charge for Isabella's power. And I begin capturing the HQ just to apply pressure. I bring my artillery closer, and I go all in. I greatly outnumber my opponent, so I'm going to overextend. Alright, infantry walks in. Keep in mind my opponent does not know how powers work, since we're both of us are pretty new to Days of Ruin at this point. But I realized that by moving this infantry here, I can get I can charge my superpower if I attack it. So I attack it, my CO zone increases once again, so it now has a radius of 4, signifying that my CO zone is ready to be used. But I have to wait till next turn, of course, because my commander already made their turn. Also, lander over here just to block off any units attacking my rocket. Alright, here comes the CO zone, the CO power. Now, I'm actually going to show the animation for this. So first things first, after I activate the superpower, all my indirects get +2 range, all my units get +2 movement. So first thing I did, I shot down that artillery and just kerboom. And with all these mechs near all these vehicles, it's time to go in. Kill off their CO zone. They built a carrier. I also did the same. Carriers can build seaplanes, which are the only air units you can build in a map without any airports. So okay, I suppose because rockets can't shoot at air units, you might want to use seaplanes. But it's a bit too late for that. Look at those mechs, they just have so much movement. Note that medium tanks aren't as strong as they are in Advance Wars by Web. They are cheaper, but they're also weaker. So tanks can actually take on medium tanks. With enough numbers, of course. But it's not as bad as it would be in Advance Wars by Web. And they resigned. From what I think in Isabella mirrors, whoever gets their power first would typically win. So I got my power first, I launched a devastating attack, and that was this game.